Joan Rivers, who was noted for her blunt, often controversial comedic persona that was heavily self-deprecating and acerbic, especially towards celebrities and politicians, recently created a big shock for the audience when her daughter revealed some little-known truths about her. Please, looking at Joan's before and after photos, it's clear that she has strong views on beauty. The proof is that Joan has undergone countless cosmetic surgeries to get compliments from the men around her. So weird, right? There are countless secrets you don't know about Joan Rivers, so please watch our video, guaranteed not to disappoint you. Let's get started. Joan Rivers embarked on a remarkable journey from the suburbs of Westchester County to becoming one of Hollywood's hardest-working stars. Her early education took place at Barnard College, where she delved into the realms of English literature and anthropology. However, it was the world of entertainment that ultimately captured Rivers' heart. After graduating, Rivers initially worked as a buyer in a department store, an experience that would soon intertwine with her personal life. She met her first husband during this period, and though the marriage proved short-lived, ending in an annulment after just 6 months, it marked the beginning of her intricate relationship with love and marriage. Joan Rivers didn't rise to fame overnight. Her journey involved a transition from a serious actress on Broadway to conquering the male-dominated stand-up scene. In 1965, she received a breakthrough opportunity on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, a pivotal moment in her career. However, her decision to venture out on her own led to a falling out with Carson. Undeterred, Rivers persevered and launched her own show, That Show with Joan Rivers, in 1968. The years that followed were a whirlwind of activity for Rivers, as she solidified her status as a multifaceted entertainer. Beyond her comedic prowess, she authored 14 books, ventured into reality shows, created jewelry lines, and became known for her infamous fashion police style critiques. Her sharp wit, self-deprecating humor, and willingness to undergo plastic surgery procedures became defining elements of her public persona. Behind the glitz and glamour, Joan Rivers was also a devoted mother to her daughter, Melissa, and a loving wife to her second husband, Edgar Rosenberg. Tragically, Rosenberg took his own life in 1987, casting a shadow over Rivers' personal life. Yet, true to her nature, Rivers openly addressed her private struggles, using humor to cope with and share the pain of her experiences. Rivers' life took an unexpected turn in 2014 when she passed away due to therapeutic complications during a seemingly minor medical procedure. Her death unveiled that, despite her candidness about various aspects of her life, the iconic performer still harbored secrets. In the aftermath of Joan Rivers' unexpected death in 2014, her daughter Melissa Rivers poured her emotions into a touching memoir titled The Book of Joan: Tales of Mirth, Mischief, and Manipulation. Melissa's motivation behind the memoir was clear. She wanted to create a tribute that would resonate with her mother's sense of humor. The book delves into the profound pain and anger that Melissa experienced after the loss of her iconic mother. It goes beyond the personal grief, shedding light on the legal battle that unfolded. Melissa filed a negligence lawsuit against Yorkville Endoscopy, the medical facility where Joan Rivers suffered complications during a routine throat procedure that ultimately led to her passing. The lawsuit, which delved into the circumstances surrounding Joan's death, was settled in 2016. Amidst the somber reflections, Melissa Rivers weaves a tapestry of heartwarming, poignant, and humor-laden anecdotes that celebrate Joan's vibrant personality. One such delightful story involves a comedic showdown between Joan Rivers and Matt Lauer over a coveted Tickle Me Elmo doll. According to Melissa, the incident occurred during a Today segment focusing on the year's hottest and most elusive kids' toys. The highly sought-after Tickle Me Elmo doll had become a sensation, selling out everywhere in the New York metropolitan area. However, There was one lone doll in the studio, and both Joan Rivers and Matt Lauer had their eyes set on claiming it. In a hilarious turn of events, Melissa recounts how her mother and Lauer ended up on the ground, engaged in a playful wrestling match for the prized doll. The competition was fierce, with both determined to secure the coveted toy. Joan, known for her quick thinking and comedic flair, took the battle to another level. Feigning a damaged hip, she cleverly tricked a concerned Lauer into assisting her. Seizing the opportunity, she swiftly grabbed the Tickle Me Elmo doll and made a triumphant escape, showcasing her ninja-like reflexes. Joan Rivers underwent a different number of plastic surgeries than commonly believed. Joan Rivers was renowned for her unabashed openness about the plastic surgery procedures she underwent throughout her life. In her trademark, self-deprecating style, Rivers turned her ever-evolving appearance into comedic material, using her experiences as fodder for jokes that both entertained and disarmed audiences. The Hollywood Reporter highlighted some of Rivers' best plastic surgery quips, showcasing her wit and humor in addressing her own transformations. One of her memorable lines reflected on the changes under her chin, humorously stating, "I saw what's going on under my chin. I don't want to be the one the president has to pardon on Thanksgiving." Another quip exemplified her irreverent humor as she joked, "I've had so much plastic surgery when I die, they will donate my body to Tupperware." Despite her candidness, Joan Rivers never publicly disclosed the exact number of procedures she underwent, leaving the public to speculate. Adding to the intrigue, her daughter, Melissa Rivers, contributed to the mystery in her memoir, The Book of Joan, Tales of Mirth, Mischief, and Manipulation. In a somewhat contradictory revelation, Melissa simultaneously claimed that her mother didn't have as much work as people think she had, while also suggesting that Joan underwent a staggering 365 procedures. This duality in Melissa's statements reflects the enigmatic nature of Joan Rivers' approach to discussing her cosmetic enhancements. Melissa Rivers delved into the deeper motivations behind her mother's fixation on plastic surgery, revealing that it stemmed from a lifelong insecurity about her looks. However, in the later years of her life, Joan reached a point where she felt confident about her appearance. Melissa expressed in her memoir that her mother had finally gotten to a place where she knew she looked good. Melissa offered a poignant perspective on Joan's relationship with plastic surgery, emphasizing the comfort her mother found in the procedures. Despite the jokes made at her own expense and those made by others, Joan Rivers underwent the surgeries to improve her own sense of well-being. Melissa shared a touching moment from Joan's 80th birthday when she remarked, "You know what? For 80, I don't look so bad." Joan Rivers engaged in significant conflicts with her daughter, Melissa. Joan and Melissa Rivers, the dynamic mother-daughter duo, presented a picture of inseparable companionship to the outside world. Their exceptionally close personal and professional relationship was showcased in reality TV shows like Celebrity Apprentice, Joan and Melissa, Joan Knows Best, and their co-hosting role on Fashion Police. However, the seemingly unbreakable bond between the two was not immune to the challenges that often accompany familial relationships. While their public appearances exuded harmony, Melissa Rivers acknowledged that the journey wasn't always smooth. In an interview with Today, she revealed that there were significant conflicts between her and Joan over the years. Despite their shared ventures and shared laughter, the mother and daughter experienced moments of tension and disagreement that were far from public view. One particularly challenging period in their relationship occurred following the heartbreaking suicide of Joan's second husband, Edgar Rosenberg, in 1987. In an interview with ABC News chief medical correspondent Dr. Jennifer Ashton for the podcast Life After Suicide, Melissa candidly expressed her anger towards her mother during this difficult time. The grief and pain manifested as resentment, leading to a period of estrangement between the two. The Daily News reported that their relationship became strained to the point where they did not speak for an entire year. Eventually, the healing process began, and they made the mutual decision to reintegrate into each other's lives. Melissa admitted that rebuilding their connection and reaching stable ground took time. It wasn't a sudden transformation. Instead, it was a gradual process that required effort and understanding from both sides. Melissa emphasized that their reality show's success and their effective partnership on the red carpet were rooted in their authentic mother-daughter chemistry, which included both love and the occasional strife. The peculiar act. Joan Rivers engaged in with emptied milk dude boxes. Joan Rivers was known not only for her sharp wit and humor, but also for her eccentricities and unique ways of navigating life. One particularly quirky aspect of Joan's habits was her unconventional use of milk dud boxes. According to her daughter Melissa Rivers' memoir, Joan had a penchant for stashing cash in emptied-out milk dud boxes whenever she traveled. The reasoning behind this odd choice was both practical and ingenious. The boxes were the same size as paper money, providing a discreet hiding spot. Melissa explained that Joan adopted this method to outsmart potential thieves. If someone rifled through her purse, they would likely overlook the seemingly innocent candy box. Melissa Rivers discovered her mother's unconventional piggy banks only after Joan's passing, during the process of clearing out her apartment for auction and sale. Joan's penchant for hiding fun money around her home, mostly in small denominations like ones and fives, was known to Melissa. Consequently, she had meticulously searched through books and magazines for any hidden cash. However, she overlooked the milk dud boxes scattered around the apartment before discarding them. Joan Rivers' eccentricities extended beyond her choice of makeshift piggy banks. In a chapter of Melissa's memoir titled The Purse, a peculiar incident at an airport security check is recounted. TSA agents, in the course of their routine check, discovered an assortment of bizarre items as they sifted through Joan's handbag. Among the unexpected contents were a Ziploc bag filled with bacon bits and a vial of fake blood. The fake blood, as revealed in the memoir, served a somewhat unconventional purpose. Joan carried it as a precautionary measure. In the event her plane was ever hijacked, she intended to throw the fake blood at potential terrorists. Joan Rivers did not identify as a feminist. Joan Rivers carved out a remarkably successful career that left an indelible mark on the industry. Widely acknowledged as a groundbreaking feminist icon, Joan Rivers was credited with pushing boundaries by addressing taboo topics such as abortion on stage. Time magazine went so far as to assert that without Rivers, there might not have been trailblazers like Sarah Silverman, Chelsea Handler, or Amy Schumer in the comedic landscape. However, Joan Rivers' comedic style, particularly her candid and often acerbic commentary on women's weight, appearance, and sexuality, stirred controversy and divided opinions among feminists. While some celebrated her as a feminist icon, others criticized her for perpetuating negative stereotypes about women. A piece in HuffPost challenged the notion of Rivers as a feminist trailblazer, arguing that her humor was frequently based on tearing women down, often with a degree of viciousness. The article cited examples of Rivers' caustic jokes, including remarks about Elizabeth Taylor's weight and Kristen Stewart's career, characterizing them as rooted in deeply misogynistic ideas about women. The conflicting views on Joan Rivers' feminist legacy highlight the complex nature of her impact on gender dynamics within comedy. On one hand, she broke barriers and paved the way for women in a male-dominated field. On the other, her humor, at times, appeared to perpetuate harmful stereotypes and engage in body shaming. In a posthumous interview, Melissa Rivers, Joan's daughter, offered insights into her mother's perspective on feminism. Melissa revealed that Joan never identified herself as a feminist and emphasized that her mother simply wanted the freedom to pursue her ambitions while maintaining traditional values. Joan's desire for a man to open a car door for her and her expectation of being treated like a lady revealed a nuanced perspective on gender roles. Joan Rivers demonstrated parenting skills that were open to some doubt. Joan Rivers' relationship with her only child, Melissa Rivers, was characterized by a blend of closeness and occasional tumult. Joan's love for her daughter was evident, but her unconventional approach to motherhood often raised eyebrows. One glimpse into her unique parenting style was revealed through her humorous quip, "Don't tell your kids you had an easy birth or they won't respect you. For years I used to wake up my daughter and say, 'Melissa, you ripped me to shreds. Now go back to sleep.'" This anecdote, delivered with Joan's trademark humor, exemplifies her ability to inject levity even into the most personal aspects of life. Despite Joan Rivers' unorthodox perspective, Melissa Rivers described her early years as having a very traditional childhood. However, as Melissa entered adulthood, the dynamics of their relationship took a less conventional turn. In an interview on the Dear Media Divorced Not Dead podcast with Caroline Stanberry, Melissa shared insights into her mother's unexpected advice on dating and relationships. According to Melissa, Joan, with her bold personality, encouraged her daughter to embrace a more assertive and liberated approach to romance, advising her to be much sluttier and to put it out there. This revelation reflects the clash between Joan's unconventional, fearless spirit and the traditional values Melissa had been raised with. Melissa Rivers' memoir shed light on another quirky aspect of her early years, revealing that Joan took some flagrant risks while driving with her baby daughter. Joan, in her characteristic humor, supposedly told Melissa, "Missy, they didn't have car seats when you were born, and you survived just fine." She went on to describe a rather casual approach to infant safety, confessing to laying Melissa on the floor of the passenger side, opting not to hold her on her lap to avoid wrinkling her blouse. While Joan's statement may have been delivered in jest, it highlights a stark contrast with contemporary safety practices. Contrary to Joan's claim, the first children's car seats were actually invented in the 1930s, well before Melissa's birth. Certainly, Joan Rivers engaged in needlepoint and crossword puzzles with her distinct approach. Joan Rivers revealed a surprising and more serene side in her role as a devoted grandmother. Despite her outrageous public persona, Joan found solace and calmness in a somewhat unexpected hobby, needlepoint. This lesser-known facet of her personality was explored by her daughter, Melissa Rivers, in a chapter of her memoir titled Pillow Talk. Melissa shared that needlepoint became a nightly ritual for Joan, providing a sense of tranquility. As Joan settled into bed, she would turn on the TV to investigation discovery, immersing herself in dark tales of gruesome murders while engaging in the rhythmic and methodical art of needlepoint. The dichotomy of watching crime stories while pursuing a calming activity like needlepoint exemplified the unique juxtapositions in Joan's life. The pillows Joan created through her needlepoint hobby bore slogans that mirrored her trademark wit and irreverence. Examples included messages like, "Don't expect praise without envy until you're dead," and "Fashion knows no pain." These personalized creations reflected not only Joan's creativity but also her ability to infuse humor even into the seemingly mundane. Melissa Rivers' memoir also offered a glimpse into another of Joan's quirks, her struggle with spelling. Joan, described as a terrible speller, had a resourceful approach to crossword puzzles. Melissa shared that her mother would cheat by squeezing misspelled words into spaces, ensuring that no puzzle went unfinished. In response to any corrections, Joan's retort was, "Don't bother me with the details, it works for me." In a poignant and light-hearted gesture, Melissa revealed that she included a crossword puzzle book and Joan's favorite pens in her mother's coffin. The accompanying jest, "Somewhere in heaven, there's a small blonde woman misspelling a four-letter word for Asian housemaid," captured the essence of Joan Rivers, the irreverent, humorous, and unpredictable personality who continued to amuse even in her departure. The reality beneath Joan Rivers' peculiar fixation on ridiculing Elizabeth Taylor. Joan Rivers' comedic repertoire often featured biting jokes, targeting various celebrities, and Elizabeth Taylor was a frequent subject of her humor. The reasons behind this frequent targeting have been explored by different sources, revealing a mix of jealousy, camaraderie, and perhaps a touch of personal insecurity on Joan Rivers' part. Leslie Bennett's biography of Joan Rivers suggests that Taylor's unparalleled beauty and early success as a movie star triggered a sense of jealousy in Rivers. According to Bennett, Rivers felt envious of Taylor, who achieved stardom at a young age due to her stunning looks. Contrastingly, Melissa Rivers, in her memoir, provides a different perspective. She contends that, despite the barbed jokes, her mother genuinely liked Elizabeth Taylor. Melissa highlights their joint efforts in AIDS research, indicating a shared commitment to philanthropy. Additionally, the close personal friendship they shared with actor Roddy McDowall, according to Melissa, adds another layer to the relationship, suggesting that the public jokes might have been more about Rivers' comedic style than a true dislike for Taylor. Marie Claire, however, offers an alternative theory regarding Joan Rivers' acerbic takedowns of women, including the jokes about Elizabeth Taylor. The magazine suggests that Rivers' harsh humor might have stemmed from her own crippling insecurity. Rivers once admitted in an interview that no man had ever complimented her on her looks or body, which, according to Marie Claire, fueled her obsession with plastic surgery. In this context, the jokes about other women, including Taylor, could be seen as a defense mechanism or a way for Rivers to cope with her own insecurities by deflecting attention. Joan Rivers epitomized extravagance as the ultimate hostess. Joan Rivers was unabashedly open about her love for the finer things. She once quipped, "People say that money is not the key to happiness, but I always figured if you have enough money, you can have a key made." At the time of her passing, Rivers had amassed a staggering fortune, estimated at around $150 million, leaving behind a legacy of opulence and extravagance. Christie's, the renowned auction house, played host to a grand event titled The Private Collection of Joan Rivers, following her demise. The auction featured an array of items that epitomized Rivers' taste for luxury, ranging from pieces by iconic brands like Harry Winston, Chanel, and Tiffany, to more unique items like a silk pagoda dog bed and a Tiffany dog bowl. Among the extravagant lots were also Louis XVII-style furniture and a collection of exquisite Fabergé pieces. The auction, described by Art Daily, garnered an impressive total of $195,250. Melissa Rivers, Joan's daughter, emphasized her mother's belief that even the most exquisite possessions should be used and cherished rather than relegated to the confines of a bank vault or storage. This sentiment reflects Joan Rivers' philosophy of enjoying life to the fullest, even with material possessions. Joan Rivers was not only a collector of luxurious items, but also a generous hostess who loved sharing her opulent apartment and its treasures with friends. According to those who knew her well, she was renowned for being the most marvelous hostess. Marjorie Stern, a friend of Rivers, recounted how Joan would meticulously observe her guests at the table, ensuring laughter and lively conversation. Joan's love for setting a formal table, complete with finger bowls, was a hallmark of her entertaining style, though some friends, like Stern, playfully teased her about the perceived impracticality of such traditions in the modern world. Joan Rivers had a fondness for fabricating stories and indulging in tall tales. Joan Rivers had a penchant for weaving narratives that weren't always entirely grounded in truth. Leslie Bennett, in the biography Last Girl Before Freeway, The Life, Loves, Losses, and Liberation of Joan Rivers, highlighted instances where the comedian played fast and loose with facts. One notable example was Rivers' claim of being a member of the prestigious Greek honor society, Phi Beta Kappa, which Bennett revealed to be untrue. According to the author, Rivers did not graduate with any honors, and her fabrications were driven by a desire to shape an image that corrected what she perceived as nature's shortcomings. Another embellished tale debunked by Nye Eater involved a story Joan Rivers told during a Howard Stern interview about a date supposedly dying during a romantic dinner at Le Cirque. The upscale New York restaurant responded with an official statement asserting that no such incident had ever occurred within its premises, humorously noting, "No one has died at Le Cirque. The creme brulee's to die for, but that's about it." This debunking exemplified Rivers' flair for embellishment, transforming mundane experiences into elaborate and dramatic anecdotes. Melissa Rivers, Joan's daughter, offered further insights into her mother's penchant for tall tales in a piece for the Daily Mail. She candidly admitted that Joan Rivers was rude, vain, embarrassing, and notably an incorrigible liar, all while remaining hilariously funny. Melissa acknowledged that many of her mother's fibs were embellishments intended to make stories more entertaining or interesting. However, she added a humorous twist by revealing that, ironically, Joan was terrible at actual lying, emphasizing the performative aspect of her mother's narrative artistry. Joan Rivers' remains have been dispersed among various acquaintances across the globe. Melissa Rivers, in her candid memoir, provided a glimpse into the complex and sometimes dark humor of her iconic mother, Joan Rivers. While Joan was known for her sharp wit and comedic prowess, Melissa revealed an aspect of her mother's humor that extended into a fictional realm. Joan reportedly maintained a fake flight manifest labeled Death Flight 5000, containing the names of people she humorously wished would be on board when the plane metaphorically crashed into K2. This darkly humorous creation, while highlighting Joan's irreverent style, was likely a manifestation of her sharp and satirical take on life. Contrary to this fictional list, Joan Rivers actually fostered numerous close friendships with people worldwide. The portrayal of her dislike for certain individuals, even in jest, stood in stark contrast to the reality of her extensive network of personal connections. Melissa Rivers, in the aftermath of her mother's tragic death, appeared on Today to discuss the settlement of the negligence lawsuit she filed against the hospital where Joan passed away. She spoke about the need to move forward, acknowledging that the term closure is often overused, but expressing a desire to put the legal proceedings behind them. Melissa also revealed her intention to advocate for legislative changes, starting in Albany, to establish tighter regulations on outpatient ambulatory clinics. This initiative aimed to prevent similar tragedies and improve patient safety. In a touching and unconventional tribute, Melissa shared with the public that she had sent Joan's ashes to various friends around the globe. The comedian's remains were dispersed in locations spanning England, Scotland, Mexico, Wyoming, California, and even in unexpected places like stores, restaurants, and studios. This unique gesture not only reflected Joan Rivers' widespread impact on people's lives, but also infused a sense of humor into the dispersal of her ashes. Melissa, keeping a part of her mother's remains for herself, humorously disclosed that she stored them in her closet, near her shoes, adding a personal and poignant touch to her ongoing connection with Joan. What do you think about these truths about Joan Rivers? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.